Hey guys, how are you doing? Hope you're doing good, because it's good to feel good. And it's kind of like saying it's nice to feel nice, or it's lovely to feel lovely, but yeah, it is really good to feel good. And look, I've got a new haircut, which I got the other day, and it's new and fresh. It's a new trend. Alright, I don't know where I'm going with this, because that has nothing to do with this video, but yeah, I thought, do you know what? I want to tell another story, and of course, I told a story a few months ago of a time where I got drunk, and I was like, there's another interesting story that's happened in my life that I could probably tell to you guys, so yeah, this is the story.
It's Ollie, the guy who likes pandas.
So yeah, I'm telling another story, and you can probably tell what it is from the title of this video, so yeah, let's continue. So, 6 months ago, I went to Orlando, Florida for Playlist Live, and I had such a great time. I mean, I met some really cool YouTubers, really cool friends, and I was meeting people and making friends and stuff like that, and it was really cool. And here's a little fun montage, which you can see right now as I'm saying this. And yeah, it's crazy to think how it's been 6 months since that trip happened. But before all this fun stuff happened, like something happened to me, like before I even got officially into the country. Like, basically, what happened to me was, I got interrogated. That's nothing to boast about. I literally got interrogated. I may have mentioned it in a video before. I think you may have seen from my Florida vlogs that we're at the point where before and after I got interrogated. And I may have mentioned it a lot on Twitter, but yeah, I wanted to tell the story to you guys without probably being a bit controversial. So yeah, let's actually tell the story. So it's exactly 6 months ago since this actually happened. So yeah, I thought, do you know what? Since it's exactly 6 months, I thought, do you know what? I'll tell the story to coincide with the date. So exactly 6 months ago today, I flew to Orlando, Florida, and I wasn't just by myself. I was with some other YouTubers such as Dodie Clark, Evan Edinger, and Tom Scott, and they're kind of part of the story. So yeah, I'll get into it. So at the point when we touched down in Florida and we got off the plane, I was just like, yes, I'm in Florida, I'm in America, this is so cool. And obviously I would know that as soon as we would get off the plane, we would go through something called passport control. So basically, passport control is this thing where when you arrive in a new country, there'll most likely be like people sitting at desks waiting to like check your documents, check your passport to see if you're legal to be in the country, and then if everything's alright, then they'll let you through. And I was like, okay, do I have the legal documents? Do I have my passport? Is everything okay, I guess? So when I got to this person at the desk, I give him my passport, I give him my, documents, I give him my ESTA, and I'm like, everything seems all cool. And then he gets a bit suspicious. Basically, he has a few looks at my passport to see, like, some of my stamps and that, and then he hands my passport to another part of the airport staff, and he's giving it a really suspicious look. And also, at the same time, I'm looking at Dodie, Evan and Tom, because they had already gone through, and plus they've been to America before, so I'm guessing they're fine, and plus Evan's American, so yeah, everything's okay with him. So the guy with my passport comes up to me and is like, excuse me sir, can you come with us please? And they escort me to another room where people are waiting to get interrogated as well. And like while I'm walking there, being escorted there, I see Dodie, Evan and Tom, and I'm like, guys, like, not actually saying it, but just like, basically my interior monologue is like trying to tell them, guys, I've screwed up, what am I going to do? And what happens is, I'm waiting there for like a good old, probably half an hour to an hour, just waiting, for someone to come and talk to me. And then eventually someone is like, Mr. Walker, can you come in here please? And yeah, and here's where the questioning begins. So the first thing he asks me is about my passport stamps, and I have quite a few stamps from when I used to live out in Kuwait in the Middle East, and obviously recently America has had a few tensions with specific countries in the Middle East, and obviously when I was living in Kuwait, it was on the border of one of these specific countries. I will not name drop, but you can Google it to find out. And with these questions, like, basically every time he would ask a question, I would always answer with my honest answer, and I was actually I was really nervous. Like, no one was there to help me or anything like that, but I was just, you know, doing my best to, you know, talk to this person. So the first thing he asked me is, why do you have so many stamps for Kuwait? And then I reply with, well, I used to live out there. And yeah, that was that question. And then he asks me, what am I doing in Florida? And I was just like, well, I'm attending this convention at the Orlando World Center Marriott. And he's like, I think at first he didn't believe me, but then he tells me how long am I here for, and I tell him I'm here for 6 days, like from the day there, from the 4th until the 9th, which was a Monday. And yeah, and then he's Googling what Playlist Live is, and then he's like, okay. And then he's asking me questions like, what do you do? And I tell them I'm a student, I study at college. And then I fill out a little form, like, you know, confirming my right to be in America. And I signed it, and that was all okay. And then he escorts me out of the interrogation room to like the passport control area, where everyone has basically left. Like, there's no sign of anyone, and like during that interrogation, I get a text from Evan saying that unfortunately, like, we couldn't wait for you, so we had to leave. So I'm in this empty passport control area where like no one's there except some of the airport staff. And then they tell me that they have my bag, which they collected, like, I think they must have collected it from baggage reclaim, because like, I don't think like just a lonely bag just waiting there and like someone could have taken it. So yeah, they basically had it ready for me. And then after I've come out of the interrogation room, I'm just basically sitting down, and then another part of the airport staff or security, basically he wants me to scan my bags and stuff. So I do all that, and he has my passport at this point. And then he says, and then everything seems to be okay. And then he asks me a few more questions, such as, did you pack this bag yourself? Yes, I did. Do you have anything to declare that might be suspicious or anything? And I was like, no. And then the final question he asked me was, is this you in the passport? Because basically, I don't know if I have a picture anywhere, but yeah, there's probably something floating here, and it's like a picture of my passport. And this was taken like 4 years ago, by the way. And I was like, yeah, that's me. And then he was like, okay, you're free to go. And I was like, thank you. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so relieved. And then I'm just suddenly putting on the internet, guys, I got interrogated. This is something you guys should know that happened to me. And oh, that was one of the most stressful things I went through. And I was like, I honestly thought at like points in that I would get kicked out of the country because someone wouldn't want me, who's been interrogated. And so yeah, I honestly thought I would be out of the country at this point, but no, I was free to go. I then got my pickup to my hotel, and then Evans basically texted me saying, hey Ollie, do you want to go out for IHOP or something? And then I tell him, I'm just like, because at this point I was just really stressed out from just getting interrogated. I was like really not up for anything. But then a few hours later, Evan and Dodie come back, and because here's the thing, they were actually crashing in my hotel room for the first 2 days, but basically what happened was they come back and they have pancakes for me from IHOP, and I was like, this is just such a kind gesture, like, thank you very much. And yeah, and that's the end of that story. So it starts with me landing in Florida and getting interrogated, and it finishes on a very high note where Evan and Dodie get me some pancakes from IHOP. I honestly think that's a really kind gesture, and plus, nobody wants that to happen to them on their first time in the country. So yeah, I felt really relieved. I just felt really stressed out. I was like, on that night that I got to my hotel, I was just like a combination of jet lagged and stressed. But yeah, the pancakes just made it a lot, like, it ended that day on a high note with the pancakes. That's where we'll stay with that. And yeah, that's another interesting story that I have to tell. I might tell some more interesting stories in the future, but if you want me to do that, then please let me know. Also, if you have any interesting stories that you would like to tell me, then email me. My email is in the description below, and I will feel free to tell any stories that you guys have to tell, basically. I will, if you send me one, I will read it out in a video. So yeah, go ahead. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and like, comment, subscribe, and share the love. See ya!
stalker is so